You're listening to Nice-ish, a podcast about reality TV and your opinions, with your hosts, Cindy and Grace.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to episode 52 of Nice-ish. I'm Grace, and I'm here with my co-host and mom, Cindy. Mom, we made it to 52.
52!
This is an important number. This is a milestone because it means a year. 1 year.
1 year, baby.
Yes, we did it.
I don't know how, but we did it.
I don't know how we did it either. I had wanted to give up several times, and you would not let me do it, so good on you.
It's been a struggle. We're like, wait, shit, it's Saturday, and we've done nothing?
Mm-hmm. But thank you to everybody who has listened over this past year. We really appreciate it.
Yes, thank you to all of our old listeners who started with us from like shitty episode 1. We hope we've gotten better. And for all the new people we add each week, thanks for listening.
Mm-hmm. So last week you had mentioned an embarrassing story that happened to you, which if you didn't hear it, you should go back and listen to it because it was pretty funny.
I don't like to relive it.
Well, it's literally on
the internet
tape,
forever.
So anybody could go back. So that's on you.
Yeah, but it must have happened to somebody besides me.
It was very specific, so I don't think so. But we were talking about anything that may have happened that was embarrassing to me. And I will be honest, it took a while.
It did. I could not think of anything. I thought this stupid girl is perfect. She doesn't do anything stupid. Every story is my story. And you came to me yesterday and are like, I got something. But you wouldn't tell me what.
Yeah, because I wasn't sure if I wanted to just either keep piling on you and just not, share anything of my own. But I thought,
I'm dying to know.
It's not fair to not share anything. So you will know the story as soon as I say like a couple of words.
Ooh.
But we both forgot. I forgot purposely. I blocked it out, but
I'm intrigued.
So it happened when we were helping my aunt move. Okay, so you got it. Do you know what I'm going to say?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh my God.
So my aunt was moving into a new house and we were out there helping her move and we're just kind of getting everything together, checking over the movers are there and just making sure that we got everything kind of from every room. And so I had just said to you, I'm like, oh, Mom, I really have to go to the bathroom, but I don't really know where to go. Do I go upstairs? I originally said to you, I'd like to go upstairs because even though they're up there, they had done part of the house already. So I didn't think they would be going in there. And you're like,
I said, no, you'll be in the way. They're working upstairs.
Yeah.
Stay downstairs.
So I listened to your stupid ass advice and I go to the bathroom downstairs and I open the door and one of the movers was sitting there on the toilet.
Taking a shit.
Yes. Oh my God. It was so embarrassing. I froze in that moment. I'm like, first of all, dude, why did you not lock the door? Why?
Right.
On earth? You're not even in your own house. You're helping somebody move.
Right?
And
I mean, we're checking all the rooms.
Yes. Like, that's not an uncommon thing. Like, normally if you would see a door shut or something, or a bathroom door shut, you probably wouldn't go in there.
Right.
But it's a very special occasion when you're moving, you're checking everything. So I come back trying to be calm and collected. You're there, my aunt's there, and my other cousins are there. And they're just all talking. And I felt like I didn't know what to do or even how to say anything. I almost didn't bring it up.
Yeah, we're all in the kitchen.
Mm-hmm.
Now, there's 4 girls. 2 of the girls were at the new house.
Yeah.
So they were there waiting and as we were delivering little stuff that we could take back and forth. And the other 2 were with your aunt, myself, and we were in the kitchen and we're kind of just shooting the shit. No pun intended.
Oh my God.
Just talking, and then you come in and I'm just looking at you because something looked off.
Well, and it was so quick.
Right.
Like, how could you have gone to the bathroom already?
Right.
You were gone like, 20 seconds maybe. So I'm just like, guys, we have to leave. We have to go. we have to go right now. And you're just like, why? What could, why do we need to leave right away? I'm like, because the guy was in there pooping and I saw him sitting there and we have to go.
I'm like, did you make eye contact? Did your eyes make contact with his?
Not quite. I tried. I saw his legs though, which might have been worse. I don't know.
So, oh my God, we were all trying to be very quiet because we did not want to start laughing because he clearly would have known.
Yes.
So I'm like, yes, best thing to do is leave. So we left your aunt and the two girls there, and you and I grabbed a bunch of stuff, got in the car as though we were going anyway, went to the other house, and the other two are like, oh, what's going on?
Never came back.
And we tell them, and they're crying, laughing.
Yeah. So that is definitely my embarrassing story. I'm sure I have others, but that one would be the top for me.
Yeah, that was so funny.
Especially with you, because we were trying to come up with things that were like with us together too. I mean, because it's not as funny if you weren't there.
Right, and we're usually together.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that was a good one. Thank you for sharing.
Well, I will share, to even this out, another embarrassing thing that you did. It was actually this week, too.
Oh, come on.
I feel like we got to even it out. So we were talking about how Bravo used to do these, like, viewers' voice questionnaires.
Right.
And I used to do them, too. Like, we both did.
Yes, we both filled them out.
And they would give you gift cards and stuff. And we were both like, what happened to those? Like, those used to be so fun. We used to get them all the time. And you were able to, comment on all the different Bravo shows and what you thought about them.
Yes, I feel like I personally got Hannah Burner fired because they would ask all these questions about Summer House. And even if it was like, how do you feel about Carl and Kyle's friendship right now? And I'd write, fire Hannah Burner.
Yes.
In everything. So I think it worked.
So, I mean, that was several years ago.
Yeah, it was.
So we just assumed, rightfully so, that they, dissolved the program.
Fizzled out.
It fizzled out. Nobody was doing them anymore. And that they thought, okay, we're done.
So I couldn't have just left it at that, right?
No. You had to tag Andy.
And Alex Baskin.
Say, where are these?
Bring them
back because I want my voice heard. And everybody, honestly, there were a couple people that were like, oh my God, yeah, I remember these.
A lot of people were. It was somebody on Threads.
Yes. And then you got a comment from someone that said, oh, I just did one of those, like, a couple days ago.
And I'm like, you did not,
what?
you liar face.
Right.
And then I went and checked.
And at the very bottom of the Bravo page, it says viewer's voice under about. Yeah. And you clicked on it and you're like, oh my God, it never went away.
I died. I had to take down the post from Threads, Instagram, where Andy and Alex were tagged, Twitter, and Blue Sky. I had to take it all down because I'm like, I sounded like a complete idiot. But I did a new one.
You did. So you signed up and you actually got in, which is good because I tried doing it like the day later and they wouldn't let me. It said that they had enough participants. So
and not only that, they asked if I had a webcam and would like to participate in panels and stuff. All I have to do is prove I am who I say I am by taking my license and touching my... No, I'm just kidding.
You have a redemption here. You could not do that. But
no, I'm just kidding. But so they asked me if I wanted to participate in panel discussions via webcam. And I'm like, hell yeah.
I know, that'd be cool. So you're back in.
I'm back, baby.
Let's get into Bravo news for the week. We don't have a ton, only about 2 things to talk about, and then we'll move into the shows. But the first one is about Porsha and her ex-husband, Simon. We know that he was detained by ICE in February, and he's been there ever since, and he finally got deported back to Nigeria.
Right, last week.
Yeah. So he gets deported back. Also this week, though, Porsha and him had a court case about their divorce, and I would say it went pretty well for Porsha.
Yeah, it did.
So you had posted a video on your social media too that kind of described a couple of the things and what she got in the court case.
Mm-hmm.
But the judge was definitely not feeling Simon, I don't think. Porsha literally gets to stay in the house that he bought for 3 years after their divorce here, and decides if she wants to keep it or not and take over, or she could be like, nah, not for me, get rid of it
And sell it.
I did read that Simon tried to appeal and the judge was like, yeah, no.
Really? He tried to appeal it?
Yeah, he basically said that when the prenup was created, that Porsha wasn't on Housewives and the money that he was putting in was so much higher than hers, basically salary-wise, and now she has all this extra money, and he's like, that should be factored in, and they're like, yeah, no.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Well, I know the judge had said something like he's responsible for all the payments, anything that's associated with the house. Like, she doesn't have to pay anything.
Yeah, no. So she's got the Real Housewives check now that she's back, and doesn't have to pay for that house. So she's
and the car, right? She got the Rolls Royce too.
Yeah. Yep.
So
she's literally kind of got everything, and he can't even like come here now.
Well, you know what I wondered is if, because he was considered illegal to be in this country, if that means that like any agreements or contracts you go into are just void.
Right, I don't know, because if you got married to somebody like Porsha, who's an American citizen, that usually is the way that people get their, you know,
their green
cards faster. And he's been married several times. So
right.
I don't know if you have to file for that.
I don't know. I'm not even talking about marriage though, but like, you know, he wants her not to get the car and not to get this. Well, dude, you're not even supposed to be here. So how is anything that you agree to even legal?
Right.
But, you know, I am not an attorney, so that might be all bullshit.
Right.
I don't know. It sounds like it should be correct, though.
So that's what's going on with them. I would definitely recommend listening to the video that you posted on social media, though. I thought that was pretty good. That described everything. So in other exciting Bravo news, Kristen Doute and Luke Broderick from the Valley had their baby girl. This is their first child for each of them. So they named her Kaya Lily, which is a super cute name. I thought it was pretty when I heard it. And it means Hawaiian for the sea. And
that's cute.
Yeah.
Because they met in Hawaii.
Exactly. And they got engaged.
Oh, wait, no.
They got engaged.
Because they got engaged in Hawaii. Yeah, that's where he proposed. That's very sweet.
Right. So I thought that was cute. I thought that she might go like a more retro hippy-dippy type, you know, name, but she didn't. So
I actually asked people online what they thought, because I thought Stevie, because she's a giant Stevie Nicks Fleetwood Mac fan, which I think is very cute as well. But I like Kaya. I think it's sweet.
Well, when I heard that it was Hawaiian for the sea, I couldn't help but laugh because Lala named her daughter Ocean. And I'm like, you're taking she just took the most literal form of the name, just Ocean. That's it. It's English for ocean. It's just like, God, I don't know. At least Kristen, it's like you're trying to, you know, it's a name.
It means ocean, but it's Kaya.
No, Ocean.
Yeah, so, that's funny.
Yeah, so I couldn't help but notice that and laugh about that. So let's get into this week's episode of The Valley. We are pretty much just only going to talk about Jax at this point. Okay. I know that, you know, everybody gathered together for Brit here at the bar, and that was great. A lot happened, but right now, Jax is just
and
kind
he blamed her.
Yeah.
It was a surprise party for her, but he blamed her.
Right, that she organized it and set it up. I'm like, dude, oh God. So that's why we're going to talk about him, because even though he wasn't there, it's like he felt like he was there. So we kind of remember from last week's episode that Brit was covering up all the cameras in the house, and she called her sister-in-law Jenny to chat with her, and Jax said that he was going to the hospital because his blood pressure got too high. And his reasoning is because of Brittany covering the cameras. So what a fucking tool. Like, can you believe that?
No, he blames her for everything.
So that backstory here is going to lead up to what we're talking about this episode.
Right, because that's how the episode ended.
Yes. So now we're kind of seeing the aftermath of that incident, and Brit tells Janet and Jason at Kristen and Luke's housewarming party that Jack's therapist had to call Brittany and tell her that Jax made the girl at the front desk of the rehab place, I say rehab with, air quotes in that, he made her cry by yelling at her to say that he was on his way to urgent care, and if anyone called asking at all, to say that he was going, even though he had no plans of going at all, just to get people to think that he was going to go to the hospital.
Which my first question that comes to mind when I hear this is, where exactly are you? Mm-hmm. Because if you're calling the receptionist at the rehab place that you're supposed to be at, are you not there? Where are you?
I know. I don't know. So we had kind of been discussing a little bit. You posted on social media, okay, Jax threatened the receptionist girl at the rehab place, not urgent care, to say he went to urgent care in case someone called. Apparently, he was filming cameos and going to the gym during this time, too. I'd say he was at rehab 4 days tops. Do you think that he was in a rehab facility at all? Do you think he even went?
I don't know, because I don't think Jason, who took him and said he signed in, would cover for him this way. Because Janet wouldn't.
No.
I know Janet wouldn't.
She would not.
So I'm wondering if he showed up there and stayed a day or two and then is like, this isn't for me. I'm out of here. Mm. And he got an apartment. So right. That's where I think he was filming.
Well,
from.
Do you even think it was considered like a rehab place?
Probably not. I don't even know if he talked to somebody from rehab. Remember that phone call where he's like, it's $30,000, blah, blah, blah. Mm-hmm. That could have been anyone. That could have been Tom Sandoval. That could have been anybody that he knows.
Right.
So I do know that he was not there for 30 days, like he's claiming. Like he got this fucking coin that said 30 days. No, that did not happen.
Right. Yeah, he walked in with that when he came out.
I know, it was so stupid. So I'm guessing he was there less than a week.
I just don't understand how you could be at a rehab place and have your phone and come and go as you choose. That is what I don't get, and a lot of people on social media didn't get. Canna Jean did not get it either, like I didn't. And they'd said, is that how he was still going to the house then and removing the card from in front of the cameras? Brit kept saying when he was here, he removed them. I was confused by that. And I was too, because there's a lot of confusing things because it doesn't make sense.
It makes no sense. At one point she said he came to the house to get his mail.
Yeah.
And then another time, oh, well, that was when he came to the house to get more clothes. Mm-hmm. And I'm thinking, what the hell? How often is he leaving?
Right. That's why Canna Jean also said, she's like, that's an interesting rehab. I'm thinking it's a wellness spa he went to and not a rehab, which I co-sign with that too. There is no way somebody in rehab is going to assign you a therapist to let you come and go when you choose and have them go with you too. That makes no sense either.
No, the whole thing is just stupid. If you can leave at any time, what's to say you're not going out and scoring drugs, taking them, and then coming back? Nothing's monitored?
Yeah. Well, I think that they mean that by like having somebody go with him, but even then, it's
every time?
I know. Supposedly. Again, none of this makes sense because it's coming from Jax, and I don't think that there is a facility out there.
And when something doesn't make sense, it's probably not true.
Exactly. What I also don't understand either is, what was your plan when you told everybody that you were driving to the hospital or the urgent care or whatever? Did you assume people weren't going to show up? Because if somebody did, you're going to literally know that it didn't happen.
Because he was whining all this time that Brittany never showed up to see him in rehab.
Yeah.
So if she goes to the hospital and you're not there and you were never checked in.
Right. Your
then
name
what?
wouldn't be on anywhere.
Right.
So I don't know. The whole thing does not make sense.
There's too many lies. When you tell lies, you're going to get caught.
Mm-hmm.
When you tell the truth, you remember the truth because that's what happened.
Yes, because it doesn't change. So
Yes.
it's going to literally be
But when
the same
you're
story.
telling 50 different stories, you can't keep them straight.
Well, Brittany also got a long email from Jax, too, that she was telling Janet and Jason about how the house is in foreclosure. He finally threw that out there after months and months of not paying. She finds out as soon as she gets right back in the house. So what are kind of your thoughts on this stupid email? And what do you think about now that the house is in foreclosure? What is Brittany to do? And what would you do if you were in this situation?
I would sue him because in that same email, he said, I'm no longer paying. I will not be paying you. He's insinuating like he's giving her money from their podcast or this. Not. I don't care if he gave her $1 million. You're still responsible every month for your half of the mortgage. You signed a contract. So I think he's a jackass. I think it's so funny because everything he's doing to Brittany, he's doing to his kid. And he acts like he's like, well, I may be a lot of things, but I'm a great dad. That's debatable. But I would sue him to say, look, all my money that I invested in this house with you is going to be gone. My credit's going to be shit. They probably owe more on the house than it's worth.
100%.
And all of his back taxes, except for the 1 year they were married, these go back to 2014. They were married in 2019. All of those back taxes are mixed in with the mortgage now. And you have the nerve to tell her you're not paying anymore?
I know. He created such a messy situation
Girl, why did you marry this guy?
I know. And that's honestly her only fault, really. She's done nothing to Jax at all. And she just should have been smarter.
Right.
And not married him at all. I think she has to sue him. That's literally the only way to get him to do anything.
And you're telling Jason you gave her the podcast money and you didn't. You're telling Jason that you took the ring.
Yeah.
He has her wedding rings. He admitted that on the after show. Brittany's like, I have no idea where my rings are. They're not in the safe. And he's like, they're in my safe. You took her rings.
Right.
She could sue you for those. She could. They're legally hers.
Yes, you gave them to her. It is a gift.
Yes.
I know that. That's the slight bit of legal, but I know. I do know that.
No, she needs to get everything from him.
Let's get into Real Housewives of Miami.
Okay.
For the first time. This was the premiere this week. We have Alexia, Guerdy, Lisa, Larsa, and Julia as full-time until Stephanie shows up, which is going to be episode 4. So we haven't seen her yet.
Right. So those are our main housewives.
Yes. Then Marisol, Kiki, and Adriana are friends of still, and Nicole left because she had her baby.
Yes. Well, she might have left because Stephanie apparently was rumored to have dated her husband, Anthony. So that could have got messy.
Yeah, like, I'm out.
Yeah.
Like, I don't need this.
No.
Like, literally.
She's got way too much money to have to deal with this shit and have it all come up. Now it might not.
Yeah, I know. So go live your life in peace.
Be happy.
Yes. Because nobody on this show, I don't think, is very happy.
No.
So let's just...
None of them.
Yeah, take your peace, girl. So first we're going to talk about this stupid... I can't... You know what? I can't even believe we're talking about this because it's so dumb, but I have to bring it up because it happened. This Julia versus Gertie feud, which I don't think Gertie even knows she's part of.
Right.
God. So the news is that Julia and Martina adopted 2 boys. They're age 3 and 1.5.
Mm-hmm.
So that was... I was surprised at how young they were.
I was too, because I looked up the ages of Martina and Julia, and Martina's 68.
Is she really?
Yeah. And Julia, I think, was 54 or 52, some around that.
Yeah. Wow. Okay.
Maybe 52. But still, I mean, Martina, my God.
Yeah, I know. That's pretty old. Well, when she made the comment, we could be grandparents, and like, yeah.
Right? Say goodbye to him every time you go out the door, Martina, because who knows? Sorry.
Who knows? Damn.
She's terrible. I don't like her. I'm sorry. Sorry. Let's just move on.
So Julia invited everyone on a group Zoom to share this news. And you had pointed out to me, actually, after the episode was over, you were like, did you notice Lisa's picture on the Zoom call? Clearly she didn't have her camera on. And when you don't have your camera on, it just shows a still photo of you. Mm-hmm. And you were like, she's just in a bikini.
She was in a bikini. I'm like, oh my God. Like, what if you're, I don't know, talking to somebody work related, right, or your parents or something? I don't know. The bikini, it seemed a bit much, but you know, I guess it's Miami.
Yeah,
so.
It tracks for her too. Yeah. So I'm not surprised, but it's funny. So all the women were kind of trying to get on to this Zoom call, and Gertie kept trying to click the Zoom link like 3 times, and it just didn't work. So she asked Julia, you know, for a new link, and Julia said she was busy, apparently late to her own Zoom, and so Gertie posted the receipts of what happened. The fact that we even need receipts for this is just so insane.
Well, she had to post the receipts because Julia was a complete bitch about it on social media when the episode happened, and was saying that, you know, she dropped out of the call and never came back, and she wasn't happy for her, and everyone else stayed, but Gertie wouldn't stay. So Gertie's like, no, bitch.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I have the receipts. So Gertie texted Julia and said, "Hi, are you sending a new link?" And then a little link emoji. "Never worked when I tried it 3 times. So Julia responded and said, "Hi, sorry, my friend. I don't know what went wrong. We only had one link that everybody stayed on. Sorry you couldn't get in. I had something amazing to tell you guys at the same time. Now it's out and have been publicly announced. Talk to you soon. Hope you're feeling better after your surgery and will recover fast," with 2 little hearts there. And Gertie wrote back and said, "Oh, okay, so I guess I'll look online for this announcement," with like a bunch of question marks and exclamation point, and just wrote K.
And I feel it.
Then Julia said, "You will understand when you read," with smiley faces. "My hands are literally full right now, so I'm dictating this message." Smiley faces again. "But we'll talk to you soon. XXXX," you know. So then a little bit later in the day, based off the timestamp, Gertie just writes her back and just says, "Congrats." Mm-hmm. No, nothing else with it. Just congrats. And then Julia wrote back and said, "Thank you. Hope you're feeling better." So Gertie then posts her own little message on top of her messages and just says, "Mind you, she never told me the news by text or phone, so she literally made me fetch the information. And after Googling it, I still said congrats."
Right. I'm completely 100% on Gertie's side. Mm-hmm. I thought this was asinine. I don't think there's anything wrong with just saying congrats. I say that all the time. I saw a few people who are like, "Wow, congrats, that's really cold." And I thought, is that cold? Because when someone says something, I usually just write congrats. I didn't feel like it was cold.
Well, I think it depends how you started writing versus how you end writing. Like, if your tone stays the same throughout the entire message, then no, that doesn't sound like...
Right.
Then it doesn't. The fact that Gertie had time to post a little link emoji and things like that, and then by the end, the beginning, and then by the end, it's just one word.
It was probably slightly snarky.
I think at bare minimum, yes. Like, right. At its worst, I think it was snarky. At best, it was, you know, congratulate. Then it was fine. Yes.
Well, I think Julia is the one who caused the issue.
Well,
Are you kidding me? You can't tell me?
Well, and if I'm reading these text messages with all the hearts and smiley faces and, like, you know, kiss like type things, I don't think there's anything wrong with it.
Same.
Like, I wouldn't get the vibe that you have an issue with me. So you had tweeted out, "Julia being the whole problem and making something out of nothing."
Right.
Eye roll. And we received 2 replies that we're going to talk about. The first one is from Real Housewife of Sunset, who said, like, she spent more time typing out those 2 messages than we're adopting 2 boys. Get the fuck out of here, Julia.
Yes, that's exactly it. The messages were super long. You could have been like, well, since you can't get the link to work, I'm super excited to say we adopted 2 boys.
Yeah.
That's all you had to do.
And then she'd give you the congrats with all the exclamation points and all the hearts that you want and everything.
What are you pissed at Gertie for?
And also, like, you were late. So if she has stuff to do, which she clearly does based off this, after your surgery and recover fast,
right?
Are you really expecting her to,
just hang around?
Right, and just wait for you? No.
Just stare at Lisa Hochstein in her swimsuit?
Yeah. Oh. The next reply we'll talk about is from Nerdy Cat that said, not to mention, Gertie is battling cancer. She's had how many surgeries and rounds of chemo, radiation, and Julia's response is, go look it up. That's crazy.
Absolutely. I agree with that completely as well.
Yeah. I mean, I think Gertie on the show said she either had like 5 or 6 rounds like it took. Like it was
multiple.
Yeah.
I know. And that doesn't make you feel well. And she took the time, even though she was busy, to get on the Zoom.
Sure.
Or to try to get on the Zoom. I mean, I really think Julia made it seem like Gertie got on, didn't see Julia there, and then just left.
Mm-hmm.
She wouldn't have asked you for the link over and over again if she had no intention of being there.
Right. And I also thought that Julia said other people couldn't get the link to work either.
Oh, really?
Not anybody in this group necessarily, but like other people, like other parts of
the
this
whole fabricated feud is
that's
ridiculous.
Exactly what it is.
I can't say.
So stupid.
Grace, I have not liked Julia from the second she was on. I'm not a fan. I know some people thought she was messy last season. I don't care. I find her boring AF.
I just think she's friend level at best.
Yes.
Like I think that Marisol should really be full time because she's so friggin' funny.
Oh my God, Kiki
and Kiki. Honestly,
and
any
Adriana.
of the 3.
Yes,
they should all actually be, but maybe they don't want to be. I don't know why you wouldn't want to be, but pick any of those 3. I don't care who you want.
Well, Marisol, even though I would pick Kiki, Marisol's involved in everything.
Yes. Yeah.
So she really should be, whether you like her or not.
Yeah. The other scene that we will talk about from this episode is Larsa and Lisa.
Oh my God, this is funny.
These 2, I swear to God. The issue is that Larsa is upset with Lisa and Jody for still being in contact with her ex, Marcus Jordan, and Lisa still follows him on social media. Mm-hmm. So Jody has friends that are also friends with Marcus, so there was a pic taken with Jody and Marcus that got posted on Instagram. I think Marcus posted it when they were out one night, and Larsa just got super pissed.
Yeah, there's somewhat of an overlap. I don't necessarily think Jody is super close, but you know what? If these 2 are best friends and they go out a lot, then Jody knew Marcus. They probably hung out a ton.
Mm-hmm. So Larsa says that Marcus sends her abusive texts and it's disrespectful towards her, and she wants some loyalty from the 2 of them. Mm-hmm. These 2 just get into an argument at Lisa's home at a birthday party for Jody, and Lisa's literally like, please get out of my house. Larsa, get out.
Larsa called her a bitch. Yeah.
So I'm just like, okay, these 2 seem to have a deeper problem here than I thought it was. I thought this was fairly surface, but it's not, I guess. At least it's not to Larsa.
No, it exploded a bit here. It got to the point with name calling and throwing people out. Sometimes you can get over shit, but that's sort of like, I don't know, friendship ending behavior to some people. Like in the real world,
you're right.
You throw me out of your home, I'm not coming back.
Mm-hmm. Well, we end up in the episode seeing a still shot of Lisa and Larsa's text message going back and forth. And Larsa sent to Lisa, you told him you weren't even going to tell me you went to his table. And Lisa's like, what table? I wasn't there. At Kiki, what are you talking about? is at Kiki, or is that the club, or does she mean she's at Kiki's house? Like literally hanging out with her.
I have no idea. So
either way, she wasn't there.
Right.
But then Larsa responds back with, "That's cool. I'm going to be friends with Lenny and his girl. All my friends, including Reed, love her. That's cool, right? I'm good." And Lisa's like, "Girl, you're acting really crazy right now. Really rude. I didn't do anything wrong. So fucked up. Don't ever talk to me like that again. You're tripping." And then Larsa says, "Marcus told me you said to him, 'I won't tell Larsa I saw you. You're right AF.'" And then Lisa responds back, "How dare you, Larsa?" And that's all we get, unfortunately. I would have loved to have, had a little scrolling function here.
Yeah, so this isn't like, I mean, this was real.
Yeah.
She was pissed at her. God, it's so funny.
So you posted this text thread on your social media, and you got a response from Ashley, who said, "Does Larsa think boyfriends have to abide by their girlfriend's girl code? Being upset because Jody went out with Marcus is just silly. I do understand why she's upset with Lisa, though." So where are kind of your thoughts on this? Do you think Jody or Lisa should dump Marcus as a friend, unfollow him? Who's it a big deal for?
Well, I don't think Jody has to do anything. Jody's just the boyfriend, and if he has friends, that overlap and they all hang out together, and sometimes Marcus is there, I wouldn't care at all what Jody does.
Yeah, I would agree.
Personally, for me with the actual girlfriend, if my girlfriend breaks up with her boyfriend, then I unfollow. I'm just doing it. If you're not cool with him, I'm not cool with him. Mm-hmm. And then if you get back together, then I'm like, hey, she's cool with you. I'm cool with you.
Welcome back.
Yes, welcome back. Now you can see my social media again. But I would be upset if my friend still followed my ex and was even friendly, especially if it ended poorly.
Yeah.
Then that would bother me.
Now, I will say that Lisa does mention in this fight that this is like their fourth breakup.
Oh, yeah.
So I could see especially why Jody in particular may want to keep someone as a friendly acquaintance, because if Larsa gets back together with Marcus, which has happened 3 times now or 4 times now, then the chances are pretty high that it's going to happen. So now you've just talked all this shit and now you're back together, and now it's like, oh, great.
Yeah, that's awesome. Fair. Because then all the guys would be like, dude, you can't keep cutting us off.
Right. And eventually, actually, I think Jody would be the one cut off, which would be super unfair. You'd be like, what the hell did I do? I was trying to, you know. It doesn't work that way. So I don't care what Jody does. So the fact that Larsa would care, I think, is a bit reaching.
That's a bit much. But I understand her feeling badly that Lisa still does.
I think that, Lisa should unfollow him. I think that she could have calmly explained that instead of coming in,
Well, what's the fun in that?
Exactly. So this literally could have been a 5-minute conversation and with no name calling or anything, but it was not that. So,
or you know what? I'm sorry I didn't. Let me do it right now. Let me do it in front of you.
Yeah.
I'll block the bitch, and then it would be fine.
Yeah.
But no, didn't happen.
No, that's
this
not
was
where
better.
Speaking though of, people breaking up and getting back together, we kind of have this weird situation with Todd and Alexia.
Oh.
What the actual fuck is happening here? I don't understand it. I don't get it. Todd dumps Alexia. We find that out. But we hear Alexia tell the story of what happened. And she's like, we go out to dinner. We have sex that night. And then the next morning, he keeps asking her when she's going to leave.
Yeah. Aren't you supposed to be meeting Peter? When you going? And she's like, yes, I am. He's not ready yet. So she noticed it.
Yeah.
And thought it was weird.
That you're being pushy and why. So she leaves and he just moves out.
Crazy. In
front of Angel Pie Frankie. You left him there. He was left there. You did this in front of him. Why?
That's unforgivable.
How dare he?
Well, it's unforgivable for most women. Apparently not for Alexia. I know. She comes home and Frankie's like, he's gone. Todd left. took everything and
He
left.
had to be the one to deliver that message.
Right. That was just cruel.
I know. But you would think, okay, we're going to proceed with the divorce and we're going to keep, moving in that direction. Nope. They are now back together and they're going on vacations.
And she didn't tell Marisol.
No, because she knew she looks like a huge fool.
She really does. I mean, it's one of those things where you're telling your girlfriends all the horrible things he's done. And she told them all about him, doing this in front of Frankie, moving out. And how awful all of it was. And then what? They all have to like him again?
That's exactly the problem. That's
and you trust him?
No, she's just like, I love him. I'm like, okay, well.
Girl.
I don't know. I don't see this going well. Do you know if they're still together?
Right now they are.
They are, really?
Yeah.
Well, then do you think that this is some type of weird,
I don't know. You know what's weird is that they didn't actually... I don't think the divorce is final, but it went into the system because it took so long for them to start dating again. Mm-hmm. So the judge is looking at it. So I think it either has to be finalized as a divorce, or then they have to submit all these petitions and all this kind of shit. I don't know if they're officially divorced. I don't know if they live together. I don't know any of that. We probably should have looked some of this up.
I'm just hoping that it'll get, thrown in throughout the season. That's where I'm hoping that happens. Well, because I don't want to look anything up.
How does Marisol, act towards him?
Right, that's the problem.
What are you supposed to do?
Yeah.
Because she hates him.
Rightfully so.
Right. You did this to my best friend and I'm supposed to be like, we're cool? I don't know.
I mean, and with the fact that they have their podcast together, they talked about it on there too when she got to, when he filed for divorce, all that stuff. Yeah. So Marisol is not going to be your biggest fan.
No, couldn't be
ever.
me.
So I don't know. I don't know how you go about that.
Well, he's not going to be on the show anymore. She said he hated doing the show. I think that's because you embarrassed yourself so badly on it, but...
Yeah, let's talk about other people's embarrassing moments. Let's lay off ours and let's talk about other people.
Yeah, I don't think we see him back at all.
Let's talk about this week's episode of Atlanta.
Okay.
So there wasn't too much in this episode in terms of drama. Obviously, the women were all having a great time on their vacation, which is good. I mean, very rarely do we not have tons of drama. But this episode, we're just kind of going to focus on Brit and Kelli because we're seeing the cracks in their relationship.
Yes.
Immediately.
Yeah, I was reading some comments where people were like, Kelli's complaining that Brit used her glam team behind her back and invited them to her home. And could this really be why they would end their friendship? And a lot of people were like, yeah, it was kind of all surface anyway. This seems like something that would end that type of surface friendship. Right.
Yeah, because we see that Brit and Kelli talk about the dinner from last week's episode, and Brit felt like Kelli didn't stand up for her and asks if, kind of if she's upset with her.
Right.
And it seems like Brit knows the answer and knows that this is what she's upset about.
Yeah.
But she's kind of asking her you good type deal. Kelli keeps kind of saying that, well, it was the donations and things like that. Mm-hmm. But Brit's like, no, bitch. I know that that's not what you're mad about. And also,
she was off that week, Kelli, because of her divorce proceedings coming up. So she was preoccupied. She kind of pinned it on that a little bit. Yeah. But honestly, I don't know how I'd feel if somebody tried to move in on my glam team, though. I would be like, oh, I let you use them because you had nobody. I did not say you could take them.
Right. Yeah.
And to not tell her.
Well, that's I think
huge.
I think that's her problem, more or less than anything.
You invite them all over to your home, but you don't tell Kelli?
Yeah,
that sounds so sus.
It does sound weird. And I am not really in any position right now to give Brit the benefit of the doubt on anything. Right. So I'm just going to assume, you did something wrong here, girl, and I'm Team Kelli. I don't even really know.
Yeah,
but
I like Kelli anyway.
Yeah, I do too.
I'm kind of there as well. But this stuff that you do on the down low like that, though, I'm not cool with. Calling them, saying come over, and not telling Kelli, which is how you met them in the first place.
Right.
I'm not cool with that.
Yeah, it's like, just find your own people then. Or if you're like, hey, Kelli, I want to talk to them because I want them to recommend other people, or like maybe they have a business and they, have other stylists or makeup artists that work for them, then do that. There's nothing wrong with that. But tell people. What is the deal with that? Just tell somebody.
Yeah, that's not cool.
So the Grenada trip is now coming to an end. They're all going to go back to Atlanta. And it seems for the sneak peek that we saw that it's winding down. We're going to be done with this season here soon. And it was for the last few episodes that we have coming up. Kelli ends up going to court, and she was so excited, thought she was going to be able to get divorced completely from this man, and didn't happen. And not only did it not happen, but he ends up going to jail.
Yes.
So
that's crazy. Well, we know she said he had threatened a judge before. So if he went to jail directly from court, who knows what he did?
Right.
This guy is scary.
Yeah. It's not a good dude.
I feel so bad for her and her girls.
I do too. I'm like, oh my God, let's get away from this guy.
Yeah.
So we'll see how that plays out. Then we see from the sneak peek is that Phaedra's on the phone with 3 of the women and is basically just like, Charles cheats on Angela. I'm like,
I know. You came back for that.
Right.
Like, really? This is what we're going to do? We're going to try to ruin a marriage? Because if he is, I guarantee she knows. And if she knows, she either cares or doesn't care.
Right.
So just like, I cannot stand when they go after each other's marriages this way.
I know.
And I'm really disappointed that Phaedra has decided to be the one to initiate all this.
Agreed. And then we'll see next week too about Brit and Kelli, and they will have their own little fight there. So.
Yeah. Yeah, it gets pretty nasty. At some point, I think Brit calls her a troll. No, a little
Hobbit,
troll. Hobbit. That's what.
Yeah.
That's so much worse. So, yeah. Well, we'll see.
Last, we'll get into talking about Love Hotel, which is the final episode for this season. I'm personally glad to be done with it. I felt,
it dragged.
Yeah, but we'll talk about your feelings about it after we're done. But I'll just go through what happened on the finale.
Sure.
And who leaves with who. So no surprise that James leaves with Luann. And they actually are still in touch. Luann was just on Watch What Happens Live too, and she was talking about how much, she likes him and that they talk all the time and that they kind of meet in California because he lives in Hawaii. She's obviously in New York, so that's kind of like their meeting spot.
Yes, but she talked very fondly of him.
She did.
Although she did say that she's allowed to date other people, which I thought was so Luann.
Oh, it totally.
But until you're living in the same location, though, it's very hard to do long distance.
Sure.
So he's going to let her be Luann and be free.
And that's what Luann wants. So that's why it's a great partnership. Then Giselle ends up deciding between Phil and Theo, and she actually picks Theo, which I was surprised by.
I was not.
Really?
No. I thought it was going to kind of be a switcheroo thing. I just got the feeling like she liked him but didn't know enough about him and there wasn't enough time. So she thought, you know what? I'm going to see if this goes somewhere, which it did not.
I was just going to say, did not. Well, the reason...
fact, I think she's talking to Phil again.
Well, I think the reason that Bravo gave was that they were going to meet in New York City around like Halloween, and then it said Theo didn't have his phone or something. He
lost his phone.
Lost his phone. I'm like, I think that means that he ghosted her. Is that what that meant?
I got the feeling they're saying he lost his phone for real. But it's not like there isn't anyone you can reach out to or her on social media or her DMs or, if you wanted to get in touch with Giselle, you could.
Well, how do you lose your phone and not get one like the next day? I would be lost without that.
I don't know. Maybe it was a euphemism for he ghosted her.
I got that impression, but maybe I didn't take it literally.
I don't know. It could be.
Then Shannon was kind of going back and forth about if she wanted to leave with Earl or not, and she did. She ended up. And I knew kind of immediately this wasn't going to work out. She was over him kind of already. You could tell that after that whole fight they had, she was not interested. But I was surprised to actually see photos of them together, though, that they actually met up after this show.
Yeah, I was surprised too. I think Shannon just wants to be with someone.
Sure.
And thought maybe him. And I got the feeling that he was very lonely after his wife died, and he did as well. But they were clearly not each other's people.
Yeah.
He comes off very free-spirited, very goofy, very laid back. And Shannon is very uptight. I felt she seemed embarrassed of him. And they were not a good match.
I would agree. And then last that leaves Ashley, and she was deciding between Wale and Ralph and ended up choosing Ralph, which I was not surprised about because you already basically dumped Wale once, but he got to stay because, you know,
right,
they threw him a bone, I guess.
Or the show wanted it to be interesting.
Right. And so things fizzled out with Ralph and Ashley, but her and Wale still talk, I guess, too, because they showed text messages of the two of them talking. I don't even know if they're currently still talking, maybe after the show, but I don't think anything.
Why do you keep messing with this guy who wants kids when you don't?
I know. I don't.
So the whole this season for me was meh.
Yeah, that was going to be my next question. So how do you think, you know, it ended?
I thought the ending was weird.
I thought it was bizarre.
Okay, I did too.
Absolutely bizarre.
It didn't seem well put together.
No.
It seemed very on the fly. I didn't think it was produced well. They're just walking off. Like I don't know if they wanted it to look Bachelor-like, but it didn't come off that way.
No. Well, because at least with The Bachelor, there's a little bit more of like high stakes in who the person ends up picking. This, I felt there was not anything. Okay, so you chose that person to leave with you. Okay, well, are you literally getting in the car right now, leaving, and you're going to the airport?
Right.
And then you're like, okay, bye.
No, I doubt it.
So what is picking them do?
I think it just meant that we will try to continue some sort of relationship outside of the hotel.
Sure.
But it just was poorly done. I gotta say, you know, Joel Kim Booster was just flat.
I thought that too, which was disappointing because I like him in general.
Yeah.
And I think he's funny. Like on Watch What Happens Live, I feel like he has personality. And I'm like, I did not show at all with him being the host of the show.
No, I didn't either. I think they need someone else, someone with a little more energy.
And who likes all the women that are there.
Hey, that's not going to happen every time. I give him credit for, you know.
Speak your mind, man.
Yes, because his mind was my mind.
Right,
so
exactly.
I'm fine with that. But, yeah, I don't know. If there's a season 2, it might honestly depend on which housewives are on it for me to be, like, excited about it.
I think that too. Yeah, because if they go back to this type of format, it's not working. I would not be interested in a season 2.
Well, I will answer all the questions on the survey.
You keep beating me to the punch every single time. I'm like, shit. I literally
just submit some comments to me, and I will let Bravo know how we would like it changed. And who we'd like the new host to be.
Exactly. Oh, God.
Well, Luann left with someone and she's still seeing him, so why don't we have Luann host?
Oh, there you go. Right. Success story.
Already.
She is not the person I thought who would be leaving with somebody either.
No.
We wanted her on every season.
I know. Well, this is the way to get her on every season.
Right. And technically she can.
And she can help the men. She was a very good coach.
I know. That's actually what they need to reformat the show to, is Luann giving dating advice to everybody, because she has got advice worth hearing.
She's got game.
She does. Yeah. Yes.
All right. We have solved half your problem. Call us.
We reworked the entire show for you. We got it.
Yeah. I will submit all of this to the viewer's voice. So
basically then, how ranking out of 10, where would you give this?
I'd probably give it a 4 or a 5.
Okay.
I mean, maybe a 5, because it's not like I didn't enjoy it, but, you know, I mean, I didn't enjoy it all.
At all or
It
all?
all. I didn't enjoy it all. There were parts that were funny. Actually, the parts that were funny were Luann.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So, you know, I'd probably give it a 4.
Sure. Yeah.
If it came back, fine. If it doesn't, I'm okay with that.
That's exactly where I would leave it too. Yeah, I would probably say, I would actually probably go lower. I would say about a 4. Like you said 4 or 5. I would say a hard 4.
Yeah.
But yeah, it dragged for me. And the fact that it was only 8 episodes and it dragged is not great.
That, and you literally said to me, I'm glad this is over before it started. So
that'll do it.
Yeah, when you're glad something's over so we don't have to talk about it anymore.
Yeah.
Not a ringing endorsement.
I know. We need to get Luann on a good show here. I need to have her on the TV. And
she was even funny on Watch What Happens Live.
I know.
Andy's like, Luann, in the last 7 minutes, you've quoted yourself 7 times. I mean, she's funny.
I know. God, I miss her. So that's my main goal, is just getting her permanent spot on a show.
I'll mention it in my webcam.
Oh, you want to know what? Now that James is in California, we can move Luann to one of the either OC or Beverly Hills franchise.
He's not in California. He's in Hawaii.
That's close enough.
He just goes to California.
That's close enough. That's close enough. That's all we need.
Luann's not leaving New York. New York is like her second lover.
Okay.
She's not leaving. She still has hopes for getting back on Roni. So,
well, yeah, she needs to spearhead that then. But yeah, anyway, so I would say good, not great.
Yeah. Good being the max. Not great. Being minimum.
Thanks for listening to episode 52 of Nice-ish. You can follow us on Instagram, Twitter, Blue Sky, or Threads at Nice-ish Podcast or at Love Cindy C. You can listen to Nice-ish wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube. Look for new episodes every Monday. Thank you for listening and have a nice-ish day.